I've been having a lot of trouble with birds for the last maybe 2.5 years or so. And Rob, I think you and Hannah would get a big kick out of this. So, like some of you know, I have birds. I have, at any given point in time, roughly about 40 birds. And over the last 2.5 years, I've been having a lot of difficulties with hawks killing my birds because there's a hawk that lives in the tree right outside of my house. And it wasn't always there, it just started nesting up in this tree when I got my first duck, 3 years ago. But she was an indoor duck, so the hawk wasn't a problem. It wasn't until I started getting the other birds and they were all outside when the hawk became a big problem and has killed several of my birds. So I called up Texas Wildlife asking them what my options were about this hawk. And so they told me, well, you can't directly do anything to the hawk because they're protected. And he started going on and on about this. And then I was just like, well, wait a minute. You specified I can't directly do anything to the hawk. Does that mean that I can do something indirectly to the hawk so that this problem could be resolved? And then that's when his voice got really low. And then he was just like, well, there's nothing that you can do, but there's a loophole. And human against bird is illegal, but bird against bird isn't illegal because there's nothing you can do about what goes on in the sky with the birds. And so then I was just like, okay, I'm with you. Like, what are you getting at? And then that's when he goes, okay, what you do, you get a falcon, a young falcon, and then you train the falcon and you bring it up around your birds. That way it knows, like, hey, these are family and I'm protecting them because they're my family. And then when the falcon gets older, they're really territorial. So that's when you let it stay outside and the falcon will take care of the hawk. And so now I was just like, okay, but it's a big hawk. What if the hawk kills my falcon? And then he's just like, the hawk's not going to kill the falcon. I was like, well, what if it does? I mean, what are the odds of the hawk killing the falcon? He's just like, it's just not going to kill the falcon. I was like, because this is the hawk's territory. It's been living here for nearly 3 years now. I don't like the sounds of those odds. The whole just take your word for it. And then he's just like, well, that's your only option. To get a falcon and let the falcon take care of the hawk. I'm like, okay. So, falcon, that's my one option for the hawk. And then I have a woodpecker problem. The woodpeckers, I'm not sure if it's the same woodpecker over the last few years or if they're multiple woodpeckers, but they're really bad to the point to where I had to actually have a 45-year-old tree removed from my backyard because it was becoming dangerous since the woodpecker had just decimated the majority of this tree and it was possibly going to fall over onto my house. So after having the tree removed, I asked the wildlife people again, what are the options for this woodpecker? And sometimes I think they just make stuff up. I think that at night, if they're laying down in bed, they're just like, what can I tell people? When they call up, knowing that there's nothing they can do. So this is what this guy told me about the woodpecker. He's like, okay, once again, nothing you can do about the woodpecker directly because they're protected. It's like, all right, got that. What are my options? Then he goes, okay, what you do is you go and you find a dead woodpecker. And then you take the dead woodpecker and you hang it up outside of your house where the current woodpecker can see it. And I was just like, so I'm supposed to take a dead woodpecker and hang it up from my house or from the tree, as an example to the woodpecker. It's like, hey, you stick around here, this is what's going to happen to you, buddy. You're going to be swinging from my house. That's what this is? And he's just like, yes, that is exactly what that is. It's intimidation. I was like, okay, where do I get a dead woodpecker? And then that's when he's just like, well, you've got the one woodpecker. I was like, yes, I've got the one woodpecker. It's like, then chances are there's going to be multiple woodpeckers in the area. And so you just go to a field, like a cornfield, and you just walk the cornfield, and you're going to come across a dead woodpecker in there somewhere. And I was just like, the cornfield? But, you know, like that, you know, it's privately owned. You can't just go walking up and down the cornfield. It's like, well, is it fenced in? I said, no, none of them are fenced in. He's like, yeah, they never are. You just go in there. And then that's why I reminded him, was like, you know, this is Texas. Chances are, if I'm, you know, walking a cornfield in Texas, the owner's going to shoot me because I'm in his cornfield. He's just like, no, you just tell him, you know, you're looking for a dead woodpecker. It was like, then he'd probably definitely shoot me if I'm telling him that I'm looking for a dead woodpecker in his cornfield so I can string it up from my house as an intimidation tactic against the living woodpecker that's attacking my trees. And so then you're just like, you know, it's just, that's the option. That's the only option that's there. Yeah, you need the dead woodpecker to hang up. It's like, okay, thank you. And I hung up with him. And then I started thinking about the hawk. And like, if I got a falcon, the falcon would probably take care of the woodpecker as well because it's there. Bird woes. These are my bird woes. And, you know, wildlife, they're not really a help. I mean, yeah, for comic relief, I guess. Because, like, the stuff they come up with. Who comes up with that? Hang up a dead woodpecker as an example to living woodpeckers. This is what's going to happen to you. But, yeah, so remember that. If you have a woodpecker problem, get a dead woodpecker and hang it up from your house. Other woodpeckers are going to leave. You may attract vultures that'll go after that woodpecker, but, you know, you won't have any more woodpeckers. So remember that. Learn something new every day.